Hello there. Olatunji Shobodu is my name. Today on Leadership in 30 Minutes, our focus is on leading without panache. Leading without panache. More precisely, why your leadership efforts are defeated. Why your leadership efforts are defeated. I want to share with you in the next few minutes some very important insight on an aspect of leadership that is misrepresented, that is, uh, not well understood, that perhaps we even treat with contempt. The whole issue of panache, panache in leadership, panache in leadership. Let's start by looking at what do we mean by panache? What do we mean by panache? And I thought to share with you a dictionary meaning of what panache represents. It means a stylish, original, and very confident way of doing things that makes people admire you. A stylish, original, and very confident way of doing things that makes people admire you. So let's put it in the context of leadership. How would we describe panache in the context of leadership? We will describe it using this dictionary format as a guide. It would be a stylish, original, and very confident way of leading or doing leadership in a way that makes people admire you. A stylish, original, and very confident way of doing leadership that makes your people to admire you. I love the stylish. I mean, three important qualifications there: stylish, yet original, and very confident. So we're talking about a leader who is stylish, that is, brings some style, or if you like, flair to his conduct of leadership, to his approach to leadership, that has originality or uniqueness in his approach, and that carries it out with great confidence, with great confidence. Think about it. If you are a leader, is that what you do? Can your people say that about you, that you lead with panache? Now, notice that I said we're talking about leading without panache, but that explains the rider in the topic, why your leadership efforts are defeated. So, what I'm actually talking about is that one of the reasons that your leadership is not effective, one of the reasons that your impact is not felt as a leader, one of the reasons that you're not getting results as a leader, one of the reasons that you're not, shining at the level that your efforts should secure for you, is that you are lacking in panache. You are lacking in panache. Panache, look at it. He said with style, a stylish. All right, maybe some of you are too serious, about the way you carry on with your leadership approach. Okay, there is style that you need to incorporate. Now there is originality that you need to incorporate, and you need to do it confidently. And now, confidently meaning that you understand exactly what you are doing, you know the place of what you are doing, all right, in your ability to achieve the goals of leadership. Okay, you are not trial and error. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are doing what you need to do as a leader, but you are doing it with style and originality. You are doing it with style and originality. Take a look at that description once again. A stylish, original, and very confident way of doing leadership. Now, when you don't have that, you are leading without panache. When you don't have that, you are leading in a way that you are defeating your own very efforts. You need panache. You need panache. Some people will say, well, leadership is not about charisma and all of that stuff. Well, yes, leadership is not entirely about charisma, but charisma can come in to aid your ability to deliver impact and effectiveness in your leadership conduct. When charisma is done, not to just project you as a larger than life leader, but is engaged to help you deliver on your leadership mandate, of course, charisma becomes very, very, very relevant. I like to make reference to the leadership model of Jesus. As far as I'm concerned, that's the master leader, the leader of all leaders. And this program is brought to you on the platform of Emet Leadership Academy, Emet standing for truth, the Hebrew word for truth. And our tagline is leadership nurtured by truth. Leadership nurtured by truth. So let's go back and look at the master leader who operated on the platform of truth, who was driven in his leadership by truth. The effect of whose leadership we're feeling till today. We're feeling his effect till today. And what an example to learn from. What an example to learn from. Let me submit to you that Jesus never led without panache. He never led without panache. In fact, his leadership approach was characterized heavily by panache. He had style, he had originality, and he led with great confidence. You would find all these three attributes associated with the way he conducted his leadership himself in the pursuit of his leadership assignment. And his mandate was delivered. His mandate was delivered. He said it himself in Matthew 17. If you would care to look at it at your time, he told God, he said, look, I have delivered on the mandate that you gave me. Now it is time for me to be rewarded. It is time for me to be rewarded. Now, what were some of the things that we saw, that we will see in him to suggest to us that he never led without panache, or that panache characterized his approach to leadership? If you look at Matthew 12 and verse 23, it's often said that the people were amazed. All right. They were amazed about many things that had to do with him. They were amazed about many things that had to do with him. They were amazed at his personality. At a point they said, wow, can this be the son of David? At a point they said, wow, is this not the carpenter's son? All right, because they saw in him something that was original. They saw in him something that was unusual. They saw in him something that was attractive. They could not ignore his presence, his leadership presence. Okay, it was unique. It was stylish as well. All right, because the manner in which he carried out, the manner in which he spoke. At another time, they had to say, listening to him, they had to say, watching him, help people, restore people to sound health. They said, we never seen anything like this. We never seen it in this fashion. We never seen it in this fashion. That was acknowledging a leader, acknowledging his approach, saying that, look, yours is different. And because of that difference, they took knowledge. Because of that difference, they opened up to him. Because of that difference, he was able to deliver his impact on them. Because of that difference. I mean, imagine, what do you do that strikes your people, as being different from the way others do it? What do you do that stands you out in a way that makes people to pay more attention to you? What do you do that convinces your people that you are worthy of being followed? That's the sense in which Panaché helps. That's the sense in which it helps to enhance your ability to deliver impact and effectiveness as a leader. As a leader, don't do leadership like every other person. Yes, you can learn from them, but you must bring your own, you must put your own stamp on your style. You must put your own stamp on your style. All right? You must convey what it is that distinguishes you, not because you want to be flamboyant, not because you just want to add flair, not because you want to shine, not because you want to intimidate any, but because you want to draw relevant attention so that people can pay attention to you, so that they can commit to you, so that they can give you the opportunity to influence their lives in the right direction. So when we are talking about leading without panache, it means there is nothing that is different or distinct about your approach. And therefore, your ability to deliver impact will be undermined. When you lead rather with panache, you are different. Your gestures are distinct. They can be confused with that of any other. Yet they are impactful. All right. So you are not different for the sake of being different. You are not distinct for the sake of being distinct. You are distinct and different because you want to make impact. The ultimate, the end is what is important. So panache, you have to embrace it. You have to define your own, but it must be with the right motivation. The idea or the end being to be impactful. Now, listen also to this and think about it. Think about yourself. You need to look, leadership is too burdensome. Leadership is too important. Leadership involves too much sacrifice and, service that you should not deliver on it. You shouldn't make impact on it, all right, or through it. Now, it is leading in an unusual way. Even if you are doing things that other people would do, but you deliver it in an unusual way. It is projecting uniqueness about the way that you lead. It is adding flair to your leadership. It is adding flair to your leadership. And you can see it in a number of ways. All right. So with Jesus, the people were not just astonished, they were astonished about different things. All right. They were astonished about his teaching. You'll see that in Matthew 19 and verse 25. And they heard some of the things that he taught. They were astonished. They were astonished. There was no way they could listen to him and forget what he was saying. Why? Because he delivered differently. In terms of content, he delivered differently. They were astonished as well at his actions. He took certain actions, it was amazing. All right. In one case, he wanted to heal a blind man and he took, spit and, mud and he mixed it and he put it in the eyes of the guy and he said, go and wash your eyes in the pool of Siloam. Nobody had seen that kind of thing before. But was he doing it? He was doing it to add some flair, as it were, but not flair for the sake of flair, because the eyes were open at the end of the day. All right. So it was not playing games, but it was impossible. I mean, if somebody was now rendering that story, would they not describe the process? They would describe the process. Because of that process, you couldn't possibly forget that encounter. So it will register on you. It will make impact on you. That's the essence of introducing or injecting panache into your leadership approach. All right. So, I mean, they were astonished at his actions. They were astonished at his questions and answers. There was a time, while he was growing up, he went to the synagogue, to learn, to interact and brainstorm with the teachers of the law, with the doctors of the law. And he was asking some questions. They were asking him questions. He was providing answers. That interaction, was rather strange to the people. They were astonished at the kind of questions he was asking, at the kind of answers he was producing. They couldn't forget the experience with him. They couldn't forget the experience with him. So he made an impact on them because he brought panache into the equation. They were also at some point astonished at his authority. The man just seemed to be in control. Wherever he got to, whatever he was faced with, he just seemed to be in control. In fact, when they talked about the way he taught, they said he taught like one, all right, as one having authority, not like the scribes. The scribes were leaders of the time. They had their own approach, but they saw that this man was different. That this one was not reading stuff from books. This one was not, trying to form. This one spoke with authority. He knew exactly what he was talking about. You couldn't miss that in the way that he conducted himself. That is leading with panache. That is leading with panache. So what does it entail? Some of the ways that you can lead with panache, some of the ways that you can bring difference and distinction to your approach to leadership, some of the ways that you can lead in an unusual manner, lead with uniqueness, lead with flair and charisma, if you like. But notice, yet you are impactful, yet you are effective. The end must be kept in view. Panache is not just for the sake of it. It's not trying to make people unduly excited and then nothing comes out of it. No, it is to make an impact, to make an impression, that helps you to deliver impact and effect and makes your leadership effectiveness. All right, and makes your leadership effective rather. So let me give you 7 ways by which you can explore the concept of panache and find opportunities to introduce it to your leadership approach. Number 1, your actions and gestures. Your actions and gestures. They brought this woman to Jesus one time. They said, "Sir, we caught this woman in adultery." And this is what Moses said. He said we should stone the woman to death. "Sir, what do you say?" They wanted to set him up, to get him into trouble. You know what he did? He just looked at them and then he bent down and, did as if he was writing. And he looked up and said to them, "Okay, whoever among you hasn't committed any sin, let him be the first to throw the stone." And then he continued, bent down and was writing. Panache. He made the point very clearly and then he looked up and was asking the woman, "Oh, where is everybody? Everybody had disappeared. So nobody has condemned you." "Well, I don't condemn you as well." I mean, how do you explain all of that? That's not normal. That's not usual. That's unusual. But that's attractive. I love that. It's attractive. It looked like drama. But it wasn't drama for the sake of drama. He was trying to make a serious point. And that point was eminently delivered. He exposed the hypocrisy of the people. He told the woman, all right, I am not endorsing what you are doing. So go and sin no more. Now, we can analyze that and you'll be amazed at the effect. Every time I read that experience, I mean, there's just so much to learn from it. Leadership, quality leadership, leadership with impact that you can't deny. So your actions and your gestures, all right, your actions. And that was unique because people didn't react to cases like that. The people that brought the woman were trying to set him up. They were getting ready to stone the woman. If he hadn't told them, qualified the statement, they would have started stoning her. But look at the way he responded. Your thinking pattern and your convictions, the way you reason, the way you approach, you reason the things that you believe and that you express is another way by which you introduce panache to your leadership. The reason many of us don't express it is that we operate like everybody else. In fact, many people operate by the script of some other person. Some are lazy and we don't think through things many times, and that's why I don't like quotes in particular, because I believe that when you think through a lot of quotes, they are meaningless. They may sound poetic. That's all it is. But if you will think and not just accept them because they sound like a rhyme, and therefore it make it look as if it's okay, the substance of it, is weak. It's weak, and at times they're just not correct. So we need to think. We need to have our own convictions that we would express. And when we do that, they show up the difference in our approach to leadership compared with others. That's panache, also being brought in via your thought patterns. That's panache. Jesus was faced with feeding 5,000 people. And his guy said, look, let's ask these people to go home. Let them go and get something to eat. These are people who had been with them for 3 days. Jesus said, no, that's not how it's done. Said, these guys have been with me. They have been listening to me for 3 days. They haven't eaten anything. We have to feed them. We're under obligation to feed them, in case you don't know. How are we going to feed them? It seemed a pretty difficult thing, but we understood that he himself knew what he would do. He himself knew exactly what he was going to do. He wasn't confused. Panache. His thinking pattern, all right, was just different. His thinking pattern was different. Okay? His thinking pattern was different. So you can bring panache to bear on your approach to leadership via your thinking pattern. That's number 2. Number 3 is the display of your wisdom. Are you a wise leader? Are you a wise leader? And one of the things about being wise is that you say things that make meaning and you do them. Wisdom is not just about what you say, it's about the action you take. And the action you take being consistent with what you said. All right? He said the wise one is the one, I would liken the wise one to the one who had these sayings of mine and does them. I would liken him to a wise man. He had the sayings and he does them. Wisdom is not just about action. Wisdom is not just about talk. Wisdom is a combination of two things that fit into themselves. What your understanding is and the action you are taking based on your understanding so that there is consistency and you are not coming across as a hypocrite. Right? Your wisdom. They were amazed at his wisdom. Do you lead in a way that your people can but wonder, where do you get this wisdom from? Where do you get this wisdom from? Not to do that is leading without panache. And when your people can't respect you for the wisdom that you bring to bear on your activities, how do they submit to you? How do they strongly commit to following you? How do you hope to be able to influence them the way a leader needs to influence the people? And if you can't do all of those things, you can't succeed as a leader. That's just the truth. That's the truth. It's less about skill and more about some of these things. It's less about skill and more about some of these things. Number 4 is your methodology and your approach. One of the things that Jesus was noted for is that he always used parables, for example, to teach his people. He always used parables. In Mark 13 or Matthew 13, 33 to 34, thereabout, it says, and without parables, he never taught the people. They knew him for the parables that he used. He had a methodology. He had an approach. He wasn't flying blind. He was operating on the basis of clearly established principles. And he would tell them the story. And many times he would explain it to them so that they have an understanding of how to deal with particular situations, of how he dealt with particular situations. Because he taught through parables core principles of life that he subscribed to. What do you teach? What are you noted for? What's your approach? Are you someone who just trial and error? What you do today, if the same situation presents itself tomorrow, you do something differently. Yet the circumstances are the same. The parameters are the same. That means you are not consistent. That means you are not following any parables. It happens, you act as it happens to you or as it occurs to you. That's not how to do leadership, right? That's not how to exhibit panache. That is leading without panache, and it will undermine your effectiveness. It will defeat your efforts. Another is custom. Do you have a custom? What do we mean by custom? Is there something? In a sense, the parables was like the custom because Jesus always taught with it. He was noted for it, apart from the fact that it was a kind of methodology, all right, or approach that he was guided by. It was also, it was a custom. He was noted for it, that this leader is fond of using parables, is fond of telling stories, is fond of bringing things down to earth so that we can understand it, so that we can relate to it. Panache. Panache. And some of the parables were funny, all right, as much as they made impact. As much as they delivered very core, very heavy messages, all right, they were at times on a lighter note. They were at times on a lighter note. So do you have a custom? He had a custom. His people knew that from time to time, very early in the day, he would retreat and he was going to pray. He had a custom. So when you look at the way he conducted himself, you will notice custom. You will notice custom. That it's one of the very important elements, all right, of his ability to deliver. You will notice custom. Do you have a custom? And that tells you that somebody who is also methodical, somebody who always wakes up every morning very early, well before dawn, in order to, spend some time praying. He wasn't doing that for fun. He was doing that because it was relevant for his mandate. It was crucial for him to be able to deliver on his mandate. What do you do on your own that is that relevant, that your people can take notice of, that will make them take you more seriously and pay attention to you? You can see that each of these things, all right, they're unusual, but they are characteristics that define him, that were unique to him as a leader. And so it was clear that he wasn't leading without panache. That he was actually leading with panache, and that's why he was so successful. He did not undermine his own efforts. Others may have done, the same thing that he was doing without as much drama, and they won't make the right impact. They won't make the right impact. So two more. Now, you can also introduce panache through your capability, the confidence, and the authority that you demonstrate. When you go back to that definition, notice our definition once again. What's panache? A stylish, original, and very confident way of doing leadership that makes people admire you. And I would add, that makes people admire, and commit to you as a leader. Because as a leader, it shouldn't stop with admiration. It must get to strong commitment. Strong commitment. All right? That's why you can't disregard panache. You mustn't disregard panache. You should do everything to add it to your approach to leadership. All right? When you speak, do you speak with authority? Do you speak in a way that people believe you? Do you demonstrate it? Are you on top of your game? When you face situations, do you come through successful? Are you able to lead your people through difficulty, staying in control, resolving it, preserving them from, adverse experiences? Are you able to do that as a leader? Are you confident? Do you stay confident as you lead, as you face challenges with your team? Or do you cower in the face of challenges? Are you capable? Do they see you as being capable? And finally, you can also introduce panache through the clarity of purpose and the candor that you bring to the table. I like the aspect of candor. It reminds me of Jack Welch, the former chairman and CEO of General Electric. This was one of his anchor attributes, all right, for success as a leader. And his leadership was with panache. Jack Welch's leadership, he led General Electric for 23 years, and every year he recorded double-digit growth. A phenomenon as a leader. A phenomenon as a leader. But he had clarity of purpose. His approach was very unique and differentiated. He pursued certain initiatives, Six Sigma implementation, to ensure solid quality in the products that GE produced. He introduced what he used to call Crotonville. Crotonville was a leadership academy specific for GE people. It wasn't for anybody. It was for certain categories of, employees who had been identified as having the capacity to be on the fast track. If you were nominated to Crotonville, it means that you have been put on a path, an accelerated career growth path, and you had to go through very intensive leadership development training. And he used to go there to teach. He used to go there to share ideas, to sit down with the top people in the company, to sit down with those that would be successors, to just brainstorm very regularly. It had the concept of how to appraise staff in a way that every appraisal at the end of every year, there's a percentage, the lowest 10% of people, it doesn't matter how excellent you may be, as long as you fall in the low 10% bracket, well, you are going. Was his way of keeping his people operating at the frontiers at all times. It had a concept called boundaryless that was an initiative to encourage, generation of ideas all across the company. Various things that he did. I remember what he used to do. One of the ways that he appraised his direct reports, the vice chairmen that were under him, I think there were about 5 or 6, who were potential chairmen in their own right. And at the end of the year, he didn't fill forms, to write the appraisal. He wrote them a letter, handwritten, where he shared from his heart the way he saw them, their performance, and the way where he saw them going and what he wants them to pay attention to before having a one-on-one direction. He had, panache. He led with panache. He led with authority. He was a confident leader, and he had style. Any wonder that he stayed in the company for 23 years and left on his own accord? He left on his own accord. I mean, how do you sit as chairman and CEO for what was the largest company in the world, the most valuable company on the exchange for 23 years? I recommend his book, by the way, to anyone who is listening, and grab his book. The first one, Straight from the Gut, G-U-T, Straight from the Gut. You will get solid leadership counsel from it. The second one is titled Winning. That's it, Winning. I love his books. I love, Jack Welch, solid leader, and I share a lot of, his ideas about leadership. So that's it. 7 ways that you can introduce candor. Introduce panache to your leadership. You need it. You are less effective without panache. And if you look around to any leader that, is worth his salt, you would see that they have panache. You will see style. You will see originality. And you will see confidence. Confidence is not empty. It's not void. It's solid. All of those things help them to gain the admiration of their people and to gain their solid commitment. That way, they can deliver on their impact. So don't lead without panache. It is destroying and defeating your efforts at leading. You need panache, and you can develop it. And that's what you should look to developing if you don't have it. And if you have it, intensify it. It will deliver a big boost to your effectiveness and your impact as a leader. That's my message for today. I want to thank each one for joining me today. I hope it has been a time of adding value to your good selves. I hope you have picked up something. If you have, please share it in your comment. If you have questions, express it in your comment. I love to hear from you. If you have any aspect of leadership you would like me to address, please go ahead and reflect it in the comment. Give me feedback. I love it. If you are joining for the first time and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, particularly on my YouTube channel, and share the link as well. If this has been a blessing, introduce it. Don't consume it on your own. Share it with others. As they say, the sky is too wide it is enough to accommodate all of us, flying. That's why I come to you every Thursday and every Monday. Monday for Leadership Nuggets, which is just to deliver a nugget to you for the week. And that I call that Leadership Monday. It's same time, 11 a.m. West African time. And this one is Leadership in 30 Minutes. Leadership in 30 Minutes. And here I speak more substantively on one subject or another, as I am inspired to do. Today has been focusing on uh, uh, leading without panache, drawing your attention to what you are not doing that is defeating or undermining your leadership efforts, and to challenge you to change, to begin to lead with panache, to introduce style, to introduce originality, and to introduce confidence in your leadership efforts. And I've shared with you 7 ways that you can do that. And do that and see if your effectiveness, you'll be surprised at how effective you will become. You'll be surprised at how effective you will become. Thank you, Mrs. Ashaye, for your comment. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing the link with others. We're here every Thursday, and our focus is exclusively leadership. Our focus is exclusively leadership. The world is in dire need of quality leadership, and we do our best here to contribute to the development of true leaders. And if you need counsel on leadership, reach out to me. You can put it in the comment. You can send me an email. I will put my email right there in the comment as well. And you can hop on a call with me, a one-on-one call, and we can discuss your issues. And I do coach as well. I have people I coach in this area. If that is of interest to you, if that is what you need, reach out to me and we can have discussions along that line. All right. Thank you once again, everyone. It's been today. Olatunji Shobodu remains my name, and I have been speaking on the subject leading without panache. Leading without panache. Why your efforts are defeated. Why your efforts are defeated. And hoping that you have gained something today that will help you to ensure that your efforts deliver impact and they are effective. All right, it's been a bit of an extended session today, but I hope you've enjoyed it nonetheless. It's yours truly. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you. Bye-bye.